that we're still in the early stage of adoption of Bitcoin as digital capital. 2024 has been a great year. The launch of the ETFs at the beginning of the year was a major milestone. The embrace of Bitcoin by major political parties is a second milestone. I think we can see movement toward normalization of Bitcoin. The approval of options trading that's moving through the pipeline for the ETFs is a big deal. The movements toward banks beginning to custody Bitcoin is very exciting. A lot of companies adopted fair value accounting this year. That's another exciting milestone. And of course, anybody that's been paying attention to the flows into the Bitcoin ETFs have noticed that they've been picking up over the past few weeks. And it's generally acknowledged that these Bitcoin spot ETFs are the most successful ETFs ever launched. And so while we're early, it's very promising. Bitcoin's about a $1.4 trillion asset class. And as you can see, Bitcoin is gradually going to draw capital from equities, from real estate, from bonds, from currency derivatives, and of course from gold.
Welcome back to the channel. Aaron here from Bitcoin Bros. That was Michael Saylor in the MicroStrategy's earnings call talking about the power of Bitcoin. In just a second here, we'll be checking out Michael Saylor at the earnings call talking about MicroStrategy, why it's so powerful. He talks about the power of MSTR, MSTX, MSTU, the Bitcoin ETFs, and what is now the entire MicroStrategy ecosystem. He talks about the power of all that and where he sees it going over the next couple of years. This was from the earnings call. We'll be watching that in a second. But before we get into that, just wanted to share some recent updates with you guys. You guys know we have been watching out for the jobs reports. The jobs reports came out very bad. Only 12,000 new jobs for October, falling short of the estimate of 110,000. This could signal a potential sell-off, but the main thing we need to be focused on right now is the election that's going to be coming in a couple of days. And people are saying the reason why this jobs report was so bad is a lot of companies are just waiting until after the election so they can get some certainty about what's going to happen in the future before they start hiring again. So that's been the big debate with why these jobs numbers were so bad. But this is definitely something to watch out for because these are probably going to get revised down, and that could actually go into the negative territory. That is definitely not good to see. And if we see that in December and then January next year, the stock market could potentially sell off, which could lead to Bitcoin selling off and MicroStrategy selling off. That's just something to pay attention to, guys, not being very bearish. Haven't sold any MicroStrategy or Bitcoin, but just want to give you guys that heads up. But I do want to share with you guys what normally happens to the stock market after the election. As you can see back here in November of 2012, the stock market actually sold off a bit after the election, but over the next year, it went up quite substantially, up around 30%. And you can look at 2016. This is the S&P here. You can see the stock market after the election got some clarity. It went up and had a great year, up around 30% there. And then in 2020, did the same thing, got some clarity in the stock market, did nothing but go up. And comparing that to what Bitcoin did those years, in 2012, Bitcoin was only trading at around $12 or $10 there. And you can see it had a nice year, going up at least 1,000% there. And then in 2016, Bitcoin didn't sell off at all around the election, but had a nice next year, up around 500%. And then you guys know what happened back in 2020 and going into 2021. Bitcoin had a pretty great year. No sell-off around the election. The election actually just gave some clarity. So according to history, we should be bullish on the stock market and Bitcoin over the next year, and then also follows the 4-year Bitcoin cycle. 2025 should be a good year for Bitcoin, for crypto, for MicroStrategy, and for the stock market. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and get into Michael Saylor talking about the power of MicroStrategy. Let's go ahead and check out the clip here.
There's a lot of confusion in the market. I mean, MicroStrategy is misunderstood. It's a little bit underestimated. I think the company is undervalued. And it starts from this observation that MicroStrategy is just a holding company that has some Bitcoin on its balance sheet that trades at a premium. And somehow, people that are short the company, they want to work through this logic of maybe the company's just worth its net asset value and a little bit of a premium. But that's kind of like saying a bank is only worth its net, its book value of its capital, or maybe, Apple Computer, 98.5% of Apple is based on forward expectations of the business, and only 1.5% is based upon the liquid assets of the company. So most companies are valued based upon their operations and their reserves. And so if we think about MicroStrategy as a Bitcoin treasury company, what are we doing? Well, we are plugged into the macro economy. The macro economy is being driven by technology, by inflation, by entropy, by chaos. And that macro economy drives the crypto economy. The crypto economy trades 24/7, 365, and people, move around all the crypto assets, and they also trade back and forth Bitcoin, and that's what makes it very volatile. That's why you can sell $1 billion of it on Saturday night. That's why you can buy $1 billion of it on Sunday morning, right? That the crypto economy, or the crypto exchanges plugged into Bitcoin, they are picking up the vibrations and the sentiments and the positive and negative developments of the macro economy. Now, why do people go to Bitcoin? Capital preservation and productivity. And of course, they will continue to do that. And that's a $1.4 trillion asset class. Now, Bitcoin is a commodity. It's a digital commodity. MicroStrategy taps into that digital commodity with our treasury operations. And one thing we do is acquire Bitcoin. We acquire the Bitcoin, we custody the Bitcoin, and we do that on behalf of our investors, because many of them either can't or choose not to hold Bitcoin and custody the Bitcoin. We also issue securities like our equity and like our convertible bonds. And we adjust our leverage from time to time. We leverage up, we deleverage. We, if we have something like this $500 million 28 note that's expensive, we repay it, we replace it with cheaper leverage. So we're always doing that. And in the future, if necessary, we'll fund dividends and any other payments necessary to our security holders. Now, that's the operational business. That business is made possible by our Bitcoin reserves. We have 252,220 Bitcoin. What's special? It's permanent capital. It can't be called, it's not overnight deposits. We can lean on the capital. We can leverage it. We know that we can take out a 4-year debt instrument and know that we'll have the capital in 4 years. And then the person that's buying the security knows we have the capital. So our reserves establish the creditworthiness of the company. What else do they do? Well, we create leverage with our reserves, by mixing fixed income and equity together. Whenever we sell equity at a premium to the underlying net asset value, we create leverage. Whenever we sell debt, we create leverage. If we sell convertible or create conversion rights at a large premium, we create leverage. As the duration of our instruments stretches out, we create leverage. So our reserves have some intelligent leverage in them. They're worth about $18 billion right now. We are the largest holder of permanent Bitcoin capital. Now, what can we do with it? Well, if we look to the right side, the market wants to buy securities. So for example, one security they really like that everybody understands is a spot Bitcoin ETF. IBIT, FBTC, etc. There's like 42 of them right now. There are going to be spot ETFs in every country on earth. They meet compliance requirements, custody requirements, and they provide you with 1x leverage. If Bitcoin doubles, you'll mostly double. If Bitcoin is cut in half, you'll probably lose half, your capital. They charge you fees of 20, 25 basis points. They are kind of like the institutional banks in the business. They're trust companies, and they take overnight deposits. And they're very limited in what they can do. You give them $1 million, they can buy Bitcoin. You ask for the $1 million back, they give you the $1 million back. That's what they do. They don't have permanent deposits. They can't hold your money for a decade. They have very, very simple daily redemption windows. And so they never trade at a premium. They won't trade at a discount. And that means that they look pretty much like Bitcoin. Their volatility looks like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's 50 vol, they'll be 50 vol. Their performance will look like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is 50 ARR, they'll look like 50 ARR. It's a great product for people that want to buy the spot commodity and they want it in a wrapper as a security. And I have no doubt, in time, it'll be very common that people use this instrument. That's a direct connection. Now, if you think about MicroStrategy, MicroStrategy offers something slightly less risky, less volatile than that. That's my MSTR convert. When we sell a convertible bond, if the price of Bitcoin is 70,000, and if we were to sell the convertible bond, or say when the price of Bitcoin, in fact, by definition, every single convertible bond we've ever sold was at the high of Bitcoin, right? We're selling convertible bonds at the market. People are either buying the Bitcoin or they're buying the bond. And if you wanted Bitcoin long exposure, you buy the bond, you get a conversion right to our stock, and then if Bitcoin trades down by 50%, you'll be able to put the bond back or you'll get redeemed at par. So those converts are part of our fixed income strategy. They give you some portion of Bitcoin performance because they have that MSTR conversion right. Now, we don't really know, exactly how they will perform against Bitcoin. I just showed you in the past, we've outperformed Bitcoin with the converts, but I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what it'll do in the future, but common sense says that if we sell a convertible bond at a 40 or 50% premium to our stock, then when Bitcoin doubles and doubles again, then you're getting a decent fraction of the Bitcoin performance, and maybe you'll get more, maybe you'll get slightly less, but you're getting it in a bond instrument. That's in the market right now, and that creates a lot of leverage. And one of the results is MSTR equity outperforms Bitcoin. That's a 1.5x or more. Historically, we're almost 2x leverage, but it changes every day. Our goal, right, with the equity is use intelligent leverage to outperform Bitcoin. And the way that we outperform is, on the upside, we have to have some leverage on the downside. And what we're doing is we're stripping the volatility, stripping the risk, stripping some of the performance out of the fixed income instrument. And then that benefit accrues to the equity holder. And so you see MicroStrategy straddling both sides of the spot market. Now, because we straddle both sides, that MSTR equity that trades, 1.5 times the performance of Bitcoin, it happens to be 1.5 is volatile. So if Bitcoin's 50 vol, we're 75 or 80 vol. If Bitcoin's 50 ARR, we might be 75 or 80 ARR, right? So who wants that? Well, the derivative traders want it. So if you look at these derivatives like MSTX and MSTU, in a matter of weeks, they raised more than $1 billion of capital by offering the proposition of 2 times MSTR. But if you think about my chart, what they're really offering is if MSTR is 1.5, they're offering 3. If we're 2x, they're offering 4. So they're offering leverage to people that want that leverage, and they're long Bitcoin investors. I showed you how MicroStrategy has a large options market. Well, there are a lot of people that want 5x or 10x leverage, and the best way to get it, in their view, is a high volatility equity with deep liquidity. And I showed you how MicroStrategy is very liquid in the spot and very volatile. And so if you're volatile and you're liquid, then the only other question is, are you credible? Are you trustworthy or transparent? What are we going to do? And the thing about MicroStrategy is every day for the past 4 years, we've said one thing: Bitcoin, long Bitcoin, we're going to acquire Bitcoin. So if you're a trader and you're trying to figure out what's MicroStrategy's strategy, you don't have to worry we're going to hedge. You don't have to worry we're going to trade against you. We're long Bitcoin. We're going to be 1.5x Bitcoin. And that means you can create MSTX or MSTU. That means you can create MSTY. It means you can create an options market. It means that if you want to short Bitcoin, then we're giving you extra juice to short it. If you want to go long, we go that way. And so you can see, of course, those three securities above the baseline offer high volatility, high leverage, and they're built on a Bitcoin treasury company that has a large pool of permanent capital and has an adept treasury operation. If we look below the baseline, we've announced that we're going to pursue a target of $21 billion in fixed income capital raise. Well, so convertible bonds are an obvious thing for us to do. We also look at other types of fixed income, and in the future, we could imagine preferred stocks that might be compelling to people that want some of the performance of Bitcoin, but they want downside protection. Some people would like a convertible preferred, others might want a dividend of some sort. And then there's always the market for just providing fixed income, just a straight fixed coupon. If Bitcoin, I've said before, Bitcoin returns 50% ARR, but there's a large portion of the world that would be happy if we stripped away 80% of the performance, 90% or 95% of the volatility, a lot of the risk. And if we stripped away risk and volatility and performance and we gave them a coupon that was compelling and an instrument that they felt good about the credit of, if they understood the balance sheet, then we would be providing a useful product to the market, based upon a digital commodity. Everybody knows they want income. Everybody knows they want, appreciation. Everybody would like to have it with varying degrees of risk and volatility. MicroStrategy's treasury operations are we assess the capital market. We figure out what the capital markets want. We figure out what's the best way. What is the security we might issue that's beneficial to all our other stakeholders? And of course, that changes from time to time. And we don't have any specific plan today. And so you'll just have to stay tuned. But this chart helps you understand that MicroStrategy is the sum of its Bitcoin reserves and its treasury operations, and they go hand in hand in a very complementary, synergistic fashion.